You're listening to the Show We Go Baseball podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into episode 11 of To The Show We Go, featuring Ed Han and myself, Andrew Parker. If you didn't get a chance to check out episode 10, we had, I don't even know how to describe him. He's a fan favorite. He's a former Red Sox, current Nesson and WEI contributor.
I believe it's living legend. Living legend is the term you're looking for.
Lou Merloni. So if you didn't get a chance to check that one out, Lou's got the voice of an angel. I absolutely love listening to him and on the radio and everything, call games. But today we actually have one of the more interesting guys that we've talked to player wise. We have Bradley Blalock. Blalock, if you kind of were like, okay, I know this name from this past year, he was involved in a trade. So Bradley, just wanted to ask you, like, how's your off season been going?
It's good. I wouldn't really say I've had an off season yet. I've been in Arizona since the season ended, 2 weeks. With 2 weeks left in the season, I had like a little oblique injury, so they just sent me out here just to get that over that, and then I threw in 2 games in instructs, and then now just out here at a strength camp. So Here till November 17th.
Oh man. I definitely want to get into more of like the trade aspect later on, because I know that was obviously like pretty big news for you this year. But I kind of wanted to talk about, obviously you just kind of gave a little spoiler to like the end of your season there. But looking back at this past year, like what would you describe your 2023 season as, like if you had to label it as something?
I'd say maybe like a blessing in disguise, just because I came in a couple months, like a little later from spring training. Went through extended because I was rehabbing TJ. But once I got activated and once I hit the road to Salem and then to Greenville, I was locked in and ready to go.
Yeah, I mean, you absolutely killed it in Greenville. It really seemed like the whole rotation there was just firing on all cylinders that whole season. And, Greenville ended up winning their league championship. Did you follow that at all when it was going on?
Yeah, for sure. I had to follow those guys since I played with them for the majority of this year. Kept in touch with some of them, and it was definitely fun to watch them win it all.
What made that group special?
I'd say we played together before. We played together in 21 in Salem, and we were, for the most part, we were one game away from winning it or going to the playoffs there. Came down to the last game, but we didn't make it. And these guys have put in a lot of work over the past 2 years, and I've seen it firsthand. And it's good they got to win or go to the playoffs and then win it all.
What was that like for you, I guess, coming back this year? And I know Ed kind of mentioned it, but you pretty much dominated when you got back to Salem. And then obviously you got bumped up to Greenville and you put up great numbers as well. But what was that like for a mindset wise? You're like, okay, like I'm back doing this and I can do it.
Yeah. It was an extended. I was facing a couple guys a lot, Tyler Esplin, and we always had like a little head-to-head competition going on whenever I'd face them. But just like having the people behind me, like staff-wise, that knew I could do it and believed in me. And we worked on the little things to get those adjusted over the process of TJ. And then once I was able to throw in games, we kind of saw how it came to life and just trusted the process and kept my routine the same pretty much all year and was able to produce.
Yeah, I know that the recovery time from Tommy John is different for everybody. And I remember talking to Hunter Dobbins last year about his recovery from it. It seemed like a couple months in, started feeling a bit of fatigue. But you mentioned an oblique injury. Did you find that your arm was starting to tire down as well, or like how did the rehab process kind of end for you this year?
Yeah, I didn't really feel fatigued. Kind of had to adjust my routines a little bit from Greenville to when I got to Wisconsin, which is the Timber Rattlers, which is the high A for the Brewers. just because I wasn't put in front of a couple of things that I had with the Red Sox. It just kind of had to adjust to what I've had available to use. But I got those things that I had with the Red Sox, so now I have those, and I can kind of go and get back onto my normal routine. But yeah, I didn't feel tired or anything. Just kind of happened in one game. I got 2 outs and felt a little tightness in my oblique, and I was like, I need to call a trainer out just because I've had an injury before, and I know I'd rather call him out than try and push through and be healthy for whenever my next time on the mound is.
And you mentioned earlier that you're in Arizona right now, and I know obviously you haven't been through your first spring training in Arizona, but is it a lot different than obviously like when you were rehabbing with the Red Sox? You were in Fort Myers, you were in Florida side, and now you're over in Arizona. Like, how different is that for you?
It's very different. I got a little taste of, I guess, spring training with Instructs. We play games here, unlike they do in Florida now, but the drives are like 30 minutes apart and stadiums are pretty close, so it's pretty neat. You don't have to ride those hour-long bus rides like you do in Florida. So that's the nice part. Facilities are, I'd say, maybe a little better out here. Pretty kind of newer. Definitely the Brewers is because it was built in 2019. But just coming from Florida or having what I had in Florida and then coming here, I wouldn't say it's too much different. There's a couple little things, but not too much.
Yeah, so coming from the South more, how was there any culture shock with Wisconsin? I've been to 45 states. I've never been to Wisconsin. All I know about it is that there's supposed to be good cheese there, and that's it.
Yeah,
how has that been?
Yeah, everyone said cheese curds. I didn't ever have cheese curds there while I was there, but I never got to hear the end of it. But yeah, a little bit of a culture shock, but not really. A lot of fields like cornfields and just farming up there, and so that was a little different because you don't really see that around where we were playing, or with the Red Sox. But I mean, it wasn't too much of a culture shock.
We were kind of chatting a little bit before we started, and I was kind of mentioning a few of the guys like from your draft class and all. Are you still pretty close with some of the guys in the class, or even like just in the system as a whole, or for the Red Sox side of things?
Yeah, I talk to guys pretty much. Talk to a couple guys every day. But yes, I'm close to the guys in my class, and luckily I got to go out to Glendale to see the Red Sox guys play last Thursday night, so that was pretty cool. And just seeing them and seeing their smiles on their face and smiles on my face, because that's the first time I've seen them since I got traded.
Ed, I don't know if you got anything to follow up there.
Well, so I have a question, but I talked to Bradley about the trade a while back, like right after it happened. So I was waiting on you to ask about that.
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. I just had a few on that. So I've never like seen anything like or about like your side of things on the trade. And I've noticed that obviously when there's a trade like that goes down at the deadline, it's we're more focused on the guy that's actually in the majors compared to the minor league side. I mean, it's just how it always is. So I guess just going back to that, like what was your reaction like when you found out that you had been dealt?
I was kind of surprised, but I knew it could happen just because it was my Rule 5 year. I didn't know where I was with the Red Sox going into it, but that also kind of played a factor in my year because I knew it was my Rule 5 year, and I knew I needed to produce to either make an impression on the Red Sox or another team. But yeah, going back to the trade, I was getting ready for the game to go out and watch, like I normally do every night when I'm not pitching. But everyone was on their phones a lot that day, just trying to see if anybody got traded from our org. And then it came down to the deadline, and everyone had seen like there was a trade with the Brewers for Urías and a pitching prospect. And in the back of my mind, I kind of thought it could be me, but I didn't really think too much of it. And then I we were trying to just guess and see who it could be in the locker room in Greenville. And then I looked at the guys and I was like, hey, watch, Iggy's going to come in the door in a second and pull one of us. And I turned around, and in Greenville, you can only see through the logo on the door. You can't see through the rest of the door. And I could see he was kind of peeking in through the door, and then he kind of darted away. And I kind of knew that. I was like, okay, that's probably going to be me. And then he got Abe's on the phone, and then he came in and got me. And it was definitely a little heartbreaking, but I knew I had another opportunity that arose, so I was excited for it. And it was a quick turnaround. Packed up, went and said bye to all the guys that were getting loose, and then packed up all my stuff in the locker room and in the apartment, and then I was ready to go.
If it hadn't been you, who do you think it would have been? Like, what was who was the first guy that came to mind? Like, oh, they traded. And that's not necessarily a diss on them or anything. I'm just curious who the first guy that came to mind was.
We all thought maybe Perales, because, he's had a good year, and we were like, oh, this might be him. Just because it said pitching prospect, we were just trying to guess. But we really didn't even know who it was, and we were just throwing around a bunch of names.
I think I messaged Ed at the time, and I said, I'm guessing it's Hunter Dobbins, just because he had such a rise, and he was one of the, I don't know, he's doing so well. And I'm like, I feel like it's him. But I feel like it was hard to guess. It was like really, really hard, because with the former CBO, when he was in charge, I feel like he never really traded any of the guys down the system. So whenever it happened, I was kind of like, whoa, like that was, wasn't ready for that one.
What are your thoughts on the former CBO Chaim Bloom being let go right after he traded you? I think that we can agree it is because he traded you.
No, I liked Chaim. He always in spring training or even whenever I would see him, we always talked. We had like 5-10 minute talks sometimes, and every time he had a big smile on his face. And I thought everyone liked him, and all the players don't know about the big leagues, but all the minor leagues had good things to say about him. But I guess he wasn't really kind of getting it done over the big leagues, so it kind of just fell apart. But he set up the system for success in the future, so whoever gets this job is definitely going to have some success coming through with the way he set it up and with the guys he has there.
And you had kind of mentioned that just that you talked to Iggy and you were chatting, you got to talk to Abe's, but did he ever contact you when he dealt you?
No, I didn't really talk to him unless I saw him in person.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know how it was, because I feel like a lot of the times when I do talk to like minor leaguers, even like Steven Nogosek, I remember he was part of the Addison Reed trade back in the day with the Mets. And he told me, he's like, I found out I was being traded on Twitter. Like, that's just how I found out. I feel like a lot of minor leaguers, I hear that quite a bit now. So I'm glad you didn't find out on Twitter that you got traded. So,
well, yeah, I guess you could say I did, because we saw it on Twitter first, but we just didn't know who it was.
Okay. Well, yeah, you didn't see your name, and
I didn't
like
see
just
my
be
name,
like,
no.
okay.
Yeah.
I feel like some guys are like, oh, I saw my name on a Jeff Passan tweet, and it was like, that was the first thing they saw. So
it's kind of wild to me how quick that information travels, that it beats some of the people that are actually involved in the trade. Like that seems right. I feel like that would be stressful, just like waiting on that the whole day.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everyone was checking their phones all day and just kind of seeing if anyone got traded, because we kind of knew there might be a couple trades. But that day was like interesting. I was talking to Kipper, and I was joking around with Kip, which is the pitching coach in Greenville, and then Dalton Rogers was out there in the bullpen, and I was like, yeah, this could be our last day together. And I was just joking around, and we were all laughing about it, and then it actually was the last day.
Oh man. I was gonna lead into, do you know by chance, like, if you will be getting a ring from Greenville?
I will. So that's
okay. Are you looking forward to that?
Yes. I was excited to get that text from the GM there, Eric. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, no,
I follow him on Twitter, by the way. Eric is probably one of the he's a very passionate Philly guy. I know that
Yeah.
he bleeds like Eagles and Phillies, but he's pretty cool guy to be the GM of a team. So
no, he's all the players like him, and he's there for the players. So that's pretty cool. My first start, I actually had it in Greenville. I texted him and I was like, "Hey, is there any way I could get like 20 tickets?" Because I was like, I'm only an hour and a half away from there. That's where I grew up, and there's so many people coming. He was like, "Of course." So I kind of hooked it up for the players whenever they needed it.
That's awesome to hear. What are your plans for the off season? Are you because you're in Arizona now, you're rehabbing, but do you have any plans to play anywhere? Or are you just going to be like rebuilding your strength? Like what are you going to be up to?
Yeah, I'm actually cleared from rehab, so I'm all done with there. We just got a strength camp going on but we have about 20 guys here. But I'll probably just go home and do all my stuff there, and then be ready for next year.
Speaking of home, I wanted to ask you about Georgia. So I saw that you were I think you were a Kennesaw State commit. And I know there was another guy that just came up recently that's now playing in the NLCS, Brandon Marsh, that is from the Beaufort area, and very familiar with that area. But what was it like, I guess, playing high school baseball down in Georgia? Because now that I've gotten to do this for a little bit, we've been talking to a lot of Jersey guys, and apparently there is just like a million New Jersey dudes in the Red Sox system now. Right. And they're all telling me that baseball is just booming in New Jersey, but I'm just like, it's not Texas, it's not Georgia. Like, let's get real.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely fun. You're always playing against a top tier guy. I mean, there might be one or two on each team, but you got those Bufords and Parkview's that always have good guys. And when I played, I played travel ball with all those guys. So whenever we'd play each other, it was always a battle, but it was always fun. There's talent everywhere in Georgia. And I actually got to a couple years, like my first and second off season, and then a couple of off seasons, I've got to be around Brandon Marsh, and he's a cool guy. He didn't have the long hair back then, though.
No, he's a crazy guy. I've gotten to be around him a little bit too, because I got family in Beaufort, and it's he's crazy. I met him when he was a senior in high school, and I think he had just as much energy as he does now. That when I was watching a video of him like popping champagne in the Phillies clubhouse, like the guy has not changed at all, and I kind of love that. So,
I actually grew up like 20 minutes from Beaufort. I went to Grayson High School.
Okay,
so it's like 20 minutes away. 30. I'd say probably like closer to 30 minutes.
Yeah, I always tell people when they ask, I'm just like, okay, there's a big lake called Lake Lanier right there. And it's actually where the show Ozark was filmed. It wasn't even filmed in the Ozarks, which people are just like, why the heck not? And I'm just like, well, it's a nice lake, just a lot of people die out there, so it's a little crazy. It's like Ed, you have no idea, man.
What do you mean? A lot of people, you're just casually dropping that? What does that mean? A lot of people die out there.
Yeah, drown. They drown. Like it was
the water, man.
Yeah. There's like supposedly it's like man-made, and there's like a city under it, and if people drown all the time in there, and they think they just go down there.
Just go down to the city. Is it one of those? No, that's like in Utah where like there was that like the lake with the brain-eating amoebas that like killed a few people. But okay, so I'm thinking of something different. But
yeah, people are just drowning in that lake. It's not like things are eating their brains. It's just that like people like it's like every summer, like a lot of people die.
So many
it's like
people,
it's crazy, man. It's like at this point though,
I shouldn't be laughing.
Kind of
sorry.
Scary. Yeah, I mean it's interesting, but I feel like every time I hear like when I first went down there, I remember I was always told like don't go in the water there. It's just another thing, but.
I used to go like tubing behind a boat there a couple of times with one of my friends from high school, but I haven't been since. So,
oh man, well, I don't want to keep dwelling on Lake Lanier because it's kind of depressing. So sorry about that. I did want to kind of talk about. So you were in the Red Sox system since 2019. And you got a chance to play a little bit in Salem and in Greenville. How was your experience, I guess, playing in a town like Salem? I hear a lot of mixed feelings on it just because it's out in the middle of nowhere. But how was your experience there?
I mean, I liked it. I was there in 2021 for the full year, and that's before I got hurt. We won a lot of games, and it was a good coaching staff, but the players wanted to be there. The clubby, always a good time with the clubby there. He takes care of his guys, so that's a good thing. I'd say this year I kind of wanted to get in and out of there just because I already played there. And then when I got to Greenville, it was on a whole nother level than Salem because they just had redone the clubhouse, the weight room, everything in the clubhouse. So it was pretty cool going there and going into a new facility that was just remodeled. Same thing there. They're always there for the players, and the staff and the clubby there takes care of the players too. But yeah, I definitely enjoyed playing at both of those parks. Different cultures for sure, because it's more of a small town in Salem. I think a couple times there's 3,000, 4,000 people there, but not too many times. But they're always rooting us on. And then when you get to Greenville, it's like a younger crowd, and it's packed out every night, basically.
So this is a two-parter for you. You're pitching, ball gets hit. Who do you want it to go to? And this is for Greenville and for your current team up in Wisconsin. Which guy for each team?
Greenville. I'd have to say I would want to fly ball to Roman Anthony. Good guy. He's going to go make plays. Also, I'd say Tyler Miller. Tyler Miller saved me on a couple of plays this year. He made a couple of diving catches. So, and
you're the second person to say Miller. That's what
Nathan Landry said it too.
Yeah, he made a couple of good plays to me that saved a couple of innings from getting big. And I think I still owe him a little steak dinner, so maybe one time I'll catch up with him. But here, everyone was good here. I don't know. Center field was Joe Gray Jr., 2018 draft, but I guess I'd have to say him because I like fly balls sometimes. But any ball on the ground in the infield, guys are making plays, so that's always good. Robert Moore, he played at Arkansas. He's a pretty good defensive guy. So
I feel like we're gonna have to get Tyler Miller on because, like we said, Nathan Landry was praising this guy, and I'm just like, I haven't really heard him being this defensive, just all Gold Glove guy. But
he's supposed to be bat first. What's going on here? This is 2 for. It's a coincidence right now, but if it's 3, if the next person we ask that to says Tyler Miller, there's something going on with his glove then.
Yeah, he made a couple diving catches in left center for me. So he played some good third too, or first base whenever he was there. So he's played good all around whenever I was down there pitching.
Interesting. Yeah, that's weird. So how was we were kind of talking about we were talking to Nathan Landry about it as well, and we kind of mentioned to it that just being part of that team. But whenever you were there in Greenville, did you sense that that team was going to go on and win a championship? Was it really that good? Was the clubhouse that crazy? Was there anything that stuck out to you when you were there?
Yeah, I feel like I was there the last week of the first half. So whenever they clinched, we lost all those games. But Iggy would come in and be like, "Hey, don't hang your heads. Let's go. We got some more games to play." So that just having the manager support your team and just tell you, "Hey, let's get after it the next day." Definitely, it plays a big role. All the pitchers everyone I'd say held each other accountable. There wasn't any guys really throwing bats or anything whenever they get out or whenever they go cold. We always had a good time. We always laughed. Guys picked each other up. And so when I was there, I could feel like this was definitely a championship caliber team. We just had to they had to put those pieces together at the end of the year, especially after the second half that we kind of lost a little bit. So, they put those pieces together and pulled away with it at the end.
Speaking of championship caliber teams, you've been following the MLB postseason.
Yeah.
Who do you got? You don't have to predict for the World Series, but who do you think is going to win their respective matchups right now?
I think the Rangers will beat the Astros, which hopefully happens. But I don't know. I think the Diamondbacks and the Phillies is going to come down to the wire. The Diamondbacks have been hot lately. I mean, last night they put up 3, even like after the Phillies scored 5. So I mean, that kind of shows they're not out of it. I'd hope the Diamondbacks wins that series, just coming from Atlanta.
I was going to say, I didn't know if you were, obviously you probably grew up a Braves fan, but it must be hard to root for the Phillies or be like, oh, I want to see them do well. So
yeah.
That leads in. I have some rapid fire ones here. There's no wrong answers at all. And they're pretty easy questions here, but it's going to be along the lines of the ATL sports here for my first one. Which Atlanta sports team gave you the biggest heartbreak in your lifetime?
Falcons, for sure.
Easy?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I feel like that was kind of a layup, but my next one is going to be a very, very hard one because it's hard for me. Favorite fried chicken fast food place in Georgia?
Chick-fil-A.
You didn't even hesitate. You didn't even have to think about that.
No.
You're not even going to consider Zaxby's?
No.
Or Bojangles?
Cane's is way better than Zaxby's, but
whoa.
Chick-fil-A. I grew up on Chick-fil-A, like going to travel ball, and so I mean, I'd eat Chick-fil-A every day.
Can I get your honest opinion on Bojangles?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it.
All right. I love it. And I like Zaxby's a lot. They actually had Zaxby's in Columbia, Missouri, so I always add it. But I thought that was going to be a lot harder of a question for you, so I wasn't expecting you to be so Chick-fil-A.
No,
I'm not a big fried chicken guy, but I got to agree on the Chick-fil-A. Their stuff is amazing.
But you've never had Zaxby's.
I think Cane's is better than Zaxby's.
All right.
They do have, they have Cane's up here. There's one near the BU campus.
It's not the same.
I used to always go by it. I've never been there. Never been there.
I promise you it's not the same because I've been to a Zaxby's in the state of Georgia and I've been to a Zaxby's in the state of Missouri. And for some reason, the state of Georgia, it just tastes better because it's in the South. Like, I don't know. It's same with Cane's. They have Cane's in Boston and it's just not the same. I like it. It's just not the same. All right. So are you my next question, it's going to depend on something. Are you a University of Georgia fan?
Yes, I am.
All right. So
go Dogs.
That's my question. Are they set up to win a championship this year?
I don't know. I mean, I'd say it depends on how hot they come out of those games.
Okay.
So when they played Auburn, I was telling all my guys here, I was like, if Georgia comes out hot, it's a blowout. But if Georgia doesn't score first, it's going to be a close game. And it was a close game. And then I told him against Kentucky, if they come out high, it's going to be a blowout. And it was a blowout.
Well,
go ahead.
I was going to say it leads to my next question because it was kind of a two-parter on UGA. Is Carson Beck the guy?
Yeah. He's played good. I mean, hopefully he plays good. Continues to play good. Actually, I went home this weekend for a little visit, and I saw him out after the Vandy game, so that's pretty cool. But
you saw Carson Beck?
Yeah. I don't know him. I know a couple other guys. Okay. So like I know they have like a little punt returner, Mekhi Muse. He's like he's been everywhere. They call his nickname's like Waffle House or something like that.
Okay.
And, but yeah, I think they have a good chance. They'll have Brock Bowers back for that SEC championship game against probably LSU. And then go from there.
If Georgia makes the SEC championship game,
they should.
Mizzou is 6-1 right now. So,
oh my goodness, Mizzou can't handle the pressure. Hey, the backup quarterback he went to Collins Hill, which is it's close to Buford.
Okay, you're talking about for UGA, right?
No, for Missouri.
Oh, Sam Horn.
Sam Horn. His
Yeah.
brother was at Kennesaw State too, so I got to meet him. I know both of them. I met both of them.
I was gonna say Sam Horn. Going into this year, they were saying that he could be the starter. Obviously, Brady Cooks outplayed him, but it is pretty cool that you have a guy that's a pitcher on the baseball team that's throwing like 98, and then he can go out there and almost win a starting quarterback job. So I'm a big fan of Sam Horn.
And Missouri got a transfer in Jake Garcia from Miami, quarterback.
Yeah,
he went to my high school. Or he transferred to my high school after COVID because whatever. There's a long story. California wasn't having a season, and then he went down to another school and got denied eligibility, and then he went to my school in the same state and got eligible. And we won a state championship.
Got a lot of Mizzou connections over there. I wasn't planning on talking about Mizzou for about like 8 minutes on here, but no, that's cool. Well, that was it. I thought the chicken thing was going to go way differently just because I know a lot of people down there love their Bojangles. They love their Zaxby's, and that's where I was always took. And I was like, hey, Zaxby's is a thing, but you were just very Chick-fil-A. So, I mean,
Zaxby's is good, but it's just not good where I wouldn't eat it all the time. I'd rather.
I'm not going to tell my fiance that because I'm taking her for the first time next year when we go down to a wedding. So I'm not going to tell her anything bad about it because I told her it was like the greatest thing ever. So
yeah. Just tell her I said Zaxby's is good. It's my second. I'll just say it's my second one.
All right.
Second favorite.
Ed, what do you got for me?
I didn't realize there was a Sam Horn that wasn't the baseball player Sam Horn. All of that just went right over my head.
He is a baseball player, I guess, but yeah.
No, but like the Red Sox Sam Horn that like the original Red Sox forum, like the Sons of Sam Horn was named after. Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, there's what? Well, he's got to get drafted by something in New England then, right? Like,
yeah, they're saying that he might. Obviously, it's hard, but I remember the Kyler McDaniel, whatever, from MiLB Network was saying that he was going to be a first-round pick, but I was kind of thinking, I'm like, he's not even like starting, so like, how would he be a first-round pick? So, as a baseball,
maybe
not
next
football.
year. Oh,
yeah, not football, baseball.
He's a sophomore, right? He'll be a sophomore this year.
It might be one of those like talent things, like with the A's drafting Kyler Murray, where it's like, hey, he's probably going to play football, but you know.
I'll tell you what, man, some of these Georgia athletes, and we were kind of talking about Brandon Marsh earlier in the show, is like I watched that dude play football at Buford, and Buford, if you don't know anything about, is an absolute powerhouse for football. And I would have, if I didn't know anything about them, I would have thought that they recruited. So
they for sure do. Everyone does though nowadays. So
yeah, I guess recruited. I don't know, but. I would have thought that he was going to go to college to play football at the time, but then he got picked in the second round by the Angels, and it's just like, now look what he's doing. So
yeah,
it's a little crazy down there.
It is for sure.
All right, Ed, you're over here smiling. What do you got for me?
Oh no, I'm just enjoying the football talk here at this point, honestly. But yeah, no, I'm good.
Well, I got one more for you, Bradley, before we let you go. So you obviously went through your Tommy John. You went through a trade this past year. You're in a new spot. You had the oblique to kind of end your season a little early. I don't know if you're a goals guy or not. What do you have? So if you looked it back, if it was October 17th of 2024 next year, and you looked back, what kind of things would you like yourself to accomplish next season?
I don't know. I'd say hopefully make it to the big leagues. I mean, that's everyone's goal, but I guess coming up here soon, we'll find out if I make the Brewers 40-man or not with the Rule 5 draft coming up. But, yeah, I mean, have a full healthy season really is kind of a goal, big goal. But coming into spring and knowing I got this stuff to compete at the big league level, just go out and not really stress about trying to make a team, but just go out and compete and kind of reflect back on this year and see what I had success going into this year, and then hopefully carry that over next year and do the same thing and be pushing for a big league spot at the end of the year.
And so I guess to end things here, I wanted to ask you. You brought up the Rule 5, and you don't know if you're going to be added to the 40-man and all that. Is that something that when it comes down, I forgot what the date was that teams had to add guys to the 40 and stuff, but do you have those dates circled?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess if you're eligible and you think you have a good chance of making it, I definitely think you have circled plenty of times. But I think the date's like November 14th is what I saw on like Twitter maybe. But yeah, I'll still be here. So maybe I'll get pulled in an office or on the phone or something, and then I'll be able to call home or not call home. I mean, we'll see.
I will say this. I really do miss you being in the Red Sox system just because of how pleasant your family is and like just commenting on everything. They would always retweet and like stuff and like just they just seem like a really great group of people, and it's always really cool to see like, oh, the family is like rooting for them here and they're really following this, and this is, you know, like it might seem it's everything for them, and that's I don't know, like that it makes you want you to succeed even more just to see them react to it.
Yeah, they have the best interest for me and especially my brother. My brother's a senior in high school and he plays basketball, so they're kind of retweeting and doing the same thing for him. And hopefully, he plays good this year and kind of can get a scholarship somewhere to go and play. But yeah, they like to come out and come watch some games throughout the year, and they're fortunate enough to do that. But yeah, they have the best interest for both me and my brother. So
was that your mom, by the way, that I think tweeted at Ed after you got traded? And I think somebody thanked him, like, thank you for always talking highly of Bradley. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
I think it was my mom. We were actually talking about it this past weekend when I was there. I was like, yeah, doing an interview with Ed. And she's like, oh, I liked him. I thanked them or whatever. So.
Well, that's good.
That's really nice to hear. That's very nice to hear. That just made my day.
I don't know why I remembered that, but I did, because I was like, somebody just thanked Ed for like being nice, like a player's family just thanked him. So I thought it was really funny. But all right, well, Bradley, we appreciate it, and you've been on here for 38 minutes, and we appreciate the time, and best of luck going forward this off season, and once you do get to an off season. And then obviously next year as you're starting your first year in the Brewers org. But thank you for the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's always a blast.
Hell yeah. See you next time, man.